Yay Networks.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Spill the Beans podcast.
And happy November. Did we forget to say that in the last podcast?
Did we?
I think so, because November was last Friday, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this month is so exciting just because we have a lot of things coming. Oh, did you see that?
Yeah, we have
Did
a
you
lot
guys
of
hear
static.
that? Okay, yeah, that's crazy. But it's so exciting because we have a lot of fun things coming up. If you know, our new design just dropped on Vibe & Co. and it's called Stay. It is a very special design for us because we dropped it because as winter approaches and the holidays come about, I know that a lot of people enter seasonal depression, and it's very real because before we had a baby, that was us. Do you remember?
Yeah, we would really get into seasonal depression, and I would more so because we are involved in social media. So we would see our friends in Tampa, Florida. We would see our friends in LA, Texas, and their weather is really nice year round. So I would see Mando's story of him like working out on the, outside, running, sweating, and I'm here freezing and trying to do 12 through 30 in my garage when it's snowing outside. So
yeah. So prior to having Franco and being parents, we would actually literally stay in bed all day. We would
DoorDash.
eat so bad. And our excuse was that we didn't want to go out in the snow and the cold and all of that. So I know that for others, seasonal depression gets even deeper than that. I've heard other influencers talk about it and say that they like genuinely have to book a trip for a month in like California or somewhere warm where they can not be in the winter area until Christmas time, because in Christmas time we're living our best life. So yes, our new design Stay Tomorrow Needs You is live on Vibe & Co, and you guys can shop it with the link in the description box.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even about just the weather. Sometimes it's the holidays,
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people get sad because their loved ones aren't here through Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year. So yeah, guys, we love you. And shout out to my mom. She's obviously, as many of you guys know, she's our main therapist. So she'll always shoot me a text or two or calls me about like mental health holidays or things on the calendar that we should know about. And one of the things, the first day of fall, she calls me and she's like, Ira, hijo, I think you should do this and this. Like seasonal depression isn't something like, it's clinically proven now, or it's getting there, but there really isn't like a prescription for seasonal depression, like something. But she's like, there's a lot of things you can do, like absorb more vitamin D. So like go somewhere where it's sunny, or if there happens to be a sunny day during the winter, go out and take full advantage of it. Talk to loved ones over the phone, see loved ones, hang out with friends. So there's a lot of things you can actively do, guys, besides just take like antidepressant pills. So
yeah, I think that in a lot of facilities that actually give out antidepressants and all of that, they don't see seasonal depression as something as strong
severe
as actual depression, so they will not prescribe any of that just for those 2 months that are super cold and you can't do anything. So yeah, definitely follow our Instagram pages so you guys can stay up to date on our designs being uploaded, because as you guys know, every single purchase actually gives free therapy to someone who really wants it. So
yeah, and I saw a lot of people in our DMs, guys, in our comments saying that this is also the perfect gift. Usually when you're shopping for someone for their birthday, for whatever X razón, you don't really know what to get them. And if you do get them clothing, it's like, well, I don't know their taste. But like clothes from Vibe & Co, like the whole mental health awareness, it's a perfect gift for anyone, like especially if you know that they're more prone for this and that. And what other shirt is going to literally give you a compliment in public, like a lot of people say that's the number one reason they love wearing it. So thank you for that, guys. And that was our first ad for the podcast. But no, seriously.
Getting into the holidays coming up, I know that Jonathan and I have always been big advocates for like shopping small businesses. And every single time we get packages from small businesses, we make sure to shout them out. So from now on, every single podcast at the beginning, we will be giving a shout out to small businesses. You guys can DM us on Spill the Beans Instagram. You guys don't have, please don't think that you have to send us anything to our P.O. box.
But you will go to the top of the list if you do.
Number one.
Just kidding.
Yeah, if you do send us some items, then we will definitely shout you out here on Spill the Beans, and especially leading up to Christmas, because you know Christmas is a gift giving
Our
time.
PO box will be right here. So go ahead and screenshot that and say that if you have a small business, guys, this is kind of our way of like trying to help you guys back. Like if you do have a small business, if like this is even a gift you could get a friend. If your friend has a small business and they just started, be like, hey, listen to today's podcast. I was able to get you a shout out. And you don't know how much that could mean towards your friend or your parents or someone. So today we wanted to start off with this because it was literally in our PO box. I think it's the first gift or something PR for like Spill the Beans that we've been sent. Usually it says you but this says to Spill the Beans. Hope you like them. And it's Beyond Faith Organic.
And this
Tea
is
blend.
why he got an eye test
Guys,
today.
I went to the doctor today and I'm getting glasses. Sorry. So let me say it again because that was disrespectful. Beyond Faith Organic Tea Blend. I got the Weight and More Organic Tea Blend Wellness.
Jonathan, something about Jonathan is that he loves taking weight loss teas. Like he
I love it.
Was obsessed and kind of addicted to them for a minute. And I say addicted as in he would, like if he ate bad all day, he's like, oh babe, just make me a tea real quick, you know? And we haven't bought them in a long time, so I'm very excited for you.
And I like the whole, this isn't just like teas and stuff, guys. We checked out their website earlier and it's also revolved around like faith, like God. Their website has a lot of quotes. And the one right here says, faith does not make things easy. It makes them possible. Luke, and I don't know which one it is. I'm so sorry. It's like blurred, but Luke something. Do you want to?
Cute. Luke 137. I don't know.
Really? I don't know. You're over here giving fall proverbs.
Preverbs.
Anyways,
do you
thank you
want to
so
give me
much.
that one now that you're right there?
This one?
Yeah.
Was it Spill the Beans?
No, but it's a small business.
Oh, I thought it was for your brand.
No, guys, and then there's this one right here, and it's so freaking cute. It's called the Miami Children Boutique, and I checked them out, and they are super small, and they have the cutest clothes. I'm actually gonna pop up a picture right here of my PR package. But it is the first PR package we got for baby girl. And it's so cute because like with Franco, we would get socks, right? And they're so super cute socks, whatever. But these ones have bows and they're knee-high socks.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's
That's
so
exactly
cute.
how I want to dress her.
Yeah, she's
So that'd
going to be
cute.
an aesthetic queen.
I want to dress her like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like that.
Maybe a little bit more brighter colors than Wednesday.
And just kidding.
But yeah, guys, don't forget, send us our DMs on Spill the Beans Instagram, and you can send it to our PO box and just say it's like specifically for Spill the Beans podcast, so that we can make sure that we shout you out.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And let's go with today's topic.
Let's go with the weatherman. Do you remember when you used to do that?
Babe, no, I don't.
Anyways,
I mean,
guys,
it was a nice stage.
since it is November, it is the month of giving thanks, obviously, and we thought that it was appropriate to share this story now because we've had time to kind of heal from the trauma that it gave, because it was kind of a scary thing that happened to us in August. So starting back, this is going to be kind of similar if you follow my YouTube channel. When I was pregnant with Franco, I had to be rushed to the ER the day after I found out that I was pregnant, the day that we told our family that we were pregnant. Honey, just tell me. Like,
my water? but there's people just listening to it. Do you get it?
Well, yeah, but then you still interrupt me. So I might as well be like, hey, babe, before you keep going, can you just give me my water?
Sorry.
Anyways, so yeah, when I was pregnant with Franco, we had this super scary ER visit that we had to go to, and that's up on my channel if you guys want to read up on that. And I think it's just so crazy because every single time that you hear about someone that's pregnant and they announce it, they're usually in the second trimester, already past the 12 weeks, and everyone's talking about how it's because you're in the safe zone, this and this. And I think with this pregnancy, I realized that you're not really ever in the safe zone. You know, like pregnancy from week 1 to week 40 is scary. So yeah, it took us a little while to talk about it because I feel like it's a very it puts us in a sad mood. But this all started back in July when I had my girls trip to Houston. It was, well, I think it was like the Thursday no, the Friday that I was coming home. I wake up Friday morning. Actually Thursday. So it was the day before we came home. I wake up and we have makeup coming to do our glam and our hair for our photo shoot with Rockham. And I go to the bathroom and I obviously pee. First thing I do every time I wake up. And I like wipe and there's blood on the paper. And it wasn't a lot of blood. It was kind of like if you were spotting on your period. So I don't think anything of it, but right away I like search it up, spotting while pregnant, spotting first trimester, spotting this, like every single thing that you could possibly look up, I look it up. And it's just like the common answer. It is very normal. You should only be scared if it's accompanied by cramps, period like cramps. If it's a lot more, like if it's not only on your paper, but it's filling up a pad or it's filling up your underwear. So since it was so little, right then and there, I was like, okay, I'm not going to freak out because I haven't felt cramps. I haven't done anything crazy. So that's how I go about my day. I don't tell anybody. I keep kind of checking every single time I go to the bathroom, and I don't spot for the rest of the day. And then the next morning I wake up and I pee and I'm spotting again, and it's a little bit, it's not that much. So this is when it gets kind of concerning because it's like the second day spotting. So I search it up again and it's like, no, it's normal for a trimester, whatever. And then we go, this is the last day that we're there. We go to brunch and we head back to Juani's house. And when we get there, Juani goes upstairs to like change or something. Lulu's in the living room chilling. And so I go in the bathroom to use the restroom. And as soon as I like put my pants down and sit down, I hear something in the toilet and it's like droplets. So I'm like, what the hell? So I look and there's blood. So I go and wipe. And probably the most traumatizing thing I've ever seen on a piece of toilet paper, I look at it and I know this is trigger warning. This is very graphic, girl. I will not post the picture because that's crazy, but it's just a blob of blood. And if I look closely at it and it looks like there's a string attached to it, right? So I'm like, oh my God, right away, like right there and there, I was like, okay, like I lost the baby. You know, I was how far along? 8 weeks? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, like it's gone. And it wasn't even maybe it's just no. I was like, no, it's like there was no other explanation for that thing. So right away I go on Google and I'm like, first trimester miscarriage, and I look at it, I look at pictures, I'm like, no dude, it literally looks exactly the same. Identical. And then I go into my app and it says, this is what your baby looks like right now. So it's like the size of a lentil, and it says that it had already built the umbilical cord or something. And literally on the paper, it's a blob of blood with a little seed and like a string attached to it. And I remember like, I don't know, I just looked at it, I was like, no, like it's gone. Like in my head, I was like, no, for sure. Like, yeah, like I lost a baby. And so right away I called, did I call you first?
I think my mom.
Yeah. No, I called my mom because my mom has had a miscarriage before. I called her and I'm like, Mom, look at this. And literally, también, like she looks like, hi, Yulisa. Like she said it so devastatingly that she was like, oh my God, like you lost the baby. And then I called my suegra to Jonathan's mom and I sent her a picture, a very graphic picture. And she was like, I'm so sorry. Like that looks identical to fetal membranes.
You also talk to the girls? Yeah,
and so then that's when I built the courage to like call Lulu and Juani into the restroom, and they're like, oh, what's up? And I'm like, look at the paper. And literally we're all just sitting there like, what the hell? And then I remember I started crying, and then they started crying, and then Juani shares with me, she's like, listen, like I've had miscarriages in the past before, and this is what they look like, unfortunately. And so we're just sitting there and we're like, okay, like I lost a baby, you know? And I remember calling Jonathan and you were driving. So I was like, fuck, like I can't, like, babe, just call me when you get home. Like I didn't want to tell him. I
spilled my whole Taco Bell burrito all over the Range Rover.
Yeah.
Because I was just like driving, but I was more focused on her story. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think Jonathan at this point, which I feel like you are not optimistic at all. Right? No. Like, I feel like you're just a realist.
Yeah.
But at this point, you were like, oh, well, are you sure?
Yeah, I was super optimistic.
Yeah. And I was like, no, babe, like, I'm sure. And I just remember I was sitting in the toilet, and then Juani was at the door and Lulu was in the bathroom with me. And Lulu was like, okay, just grab hands. Let's start praying. And I remember she prayed out loud. She's like, God, please don't let it be this. I have like strong faith that this isn't what it looks like. And she was just praying over it. And I remember, like, this is so sad, but I remember like thinking in my head, while I was praying, I was like, God, like, if I lost a baby, like, I understand, you know, and thank you for allowing me to get pregnant again, you know. But in my head, I was like, no, like, it's literally gone. And I remember my mom and Jonathan being so mad at me because Jonathan's like, go to the hospital, go to the ER. My mom's like, just listen to him, just go. And in my head, I'm like, dude, when I got sent to the ER with Franco, they had to keep me overnight. And in the morning, they found nothing wrong, right? So I'm like, if I go to the ER right now, my flight was in 2 hours. I was like, if I go to the ER right now, and they're like, oh, well, let's just admit you and see. Then I was like, then I'm going to have to be in the hospital in Texas by myself without my husband. And I was like, and what am I going to go? I'm going to go and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, you lost it. You know? Yeah. So I was like, that would be a very sad flight home. Like, I just want to fly home and then go to the hospital when I get there. And I remember Juani and Lulu también. They're like, are you sure? Are you positive? Like, just like you can stay. And I'm like, no, I just want to go home. And Jonathan and my mom were pissed. And I was just like, I think there and then I had just already accepted it. I took millions of pictures. I sent him out. Everyone says it looked exactly like a miscarriage. And just like seeing the size that it's predicted to be at that stage, I was like, no, like that's literally what you see on this paper. And I get home. I flew home that night. And actually after that, I didn't bleed anymore. Like it was just that. And then nothing else. No cramps, nothing. And it was so funny because with Franco, I had extreme severe, I couldn't walk, couldn't sit, cramps, and no blood. But it was still not a miscarriage. So then I get home that night. It's like 9 p.m. And Jonathan's like, oh, like, do you want to go right now? And I'm like, no, let's just go tomorrow morning. Let's just sleep it off, you know. And in the morning, we're like, okay, my mom came over. She stayed here with Franco. Both my parents did. And then we head over to the urgent care. And they're like, oh, sorry, like we don't do ultrasound, so you're going to have to go to the emergency room. I'm like, oh my God. So we have to go to the emergency room. And Jonathan and I just walked into the emergency room ready for them to tell us, like, it's gone. Like, yeah, you experienced a miscarriage and you don't have a baby anymore. So we had already accepted it. We had come to terms with it. We're like, let's just start the healing process. And it was so funny because
we were already talking about like, so
trying again.
Try again.
Yeah,
right
like Jonathan
away?
was already telling me like, babe, like it's okay, but let's just try again. Like, how long does it take for you to heal from a miscarriage? Like, let's just try again, you know? And I think that it was at this point when we're like, oh shit, like we do want more kids.
Yeah,
know?
because we could have, like, if it was a miscarriage, we're like, okay, well, it was an accident. So do we go and fulfill our plan of letting Franco go till 4 years, and then having our second one? But we were already so attached to the idea that we're like, no, let's right away again.
Yeah, and I think it was that we had already planned our life around the second baby, that we're like, no, like let's just wait a month, and then when I get my period again, we'll try it again. And so we're just talking all this nonsense before the doctor comes in, and it's just like everything. You go in there, they try to do an ultrasound, they don't see anything. They do blood work. The nurse came in. I don't remember this. Can you talk about that part?
So the nurse comes in first, and she's the one doing your vitals and the chart, and then you show her the picture, right? Yeah. And she's like, by far one of the nicest nurses, right? Because she was like very straight. She's that type of nurse that says, I shouldn't be telling you this, but like she tells you everything that she can possibly know from her experience. She's like, it does look like a miscarriage, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, she was being really nice to Blanca. Like, you're so strong, blah, blah, blah. And then, so we're like, okay, like she basically confirmed. Like, a nurse looks at your bloody, you know, blob, and she says it was a miscarriage. You kind of like, okay, you know, we did.
Yeah.
So then the doctor comes in.
Do you want to explain that? Because before the doctor came in, you experienced that glove
falling.
Oh my
God, this is crazy. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. But while we were waiting between the nurse and the doctor, you know how they'd make you wait a long time. So I was just there. I had my hand, like my head leaned on my hand, and I was just thinking you were on your phone, and we were just kind of quiet. Because we just basically got told by the nurse that we did have a miscarriage. And I like look and I'm just praying, you know, I'm talking to God, and I'm like, Like why? Why us? You know, we don't really. I always like to be honest with God. So I was like, God, like, yeah, I can be like a little shithead sometimes and like an asshole, this and that. But we're not bad people. You know, we're not bad people. We don't talk bad about people. We don't steal. We don't, you know, we try to give as much back to the community. So I was like, why? Like, why us? You know? And I was like, I just need, and I was kind of like challenging him. I was like, give me a sign right now. Like, give me a sign, you know? And guys, as soon as I say that, or I think that, because I'm thinking it, the gloves that the doctors grab, that they're hanging usually on the wall, the little box, they look like Kleenexes, but it's gloves. One of the gloves like falls out and it falls on the ground. So I'm like, holy shit, you know? But then I take it like a step further. I'm like, nah, like that could have been coincidence, like a big coincidence, because, you know, the gloves are kind of sticking out. It could have fallen. Me being, you know, dumb. And I'm like, no, like one more, you know, after a glove freaking fell from like 5 feet up in the hanging on the wall. And then the glove, like, I swear, guys, I swear on my life, on Franco, the glove like twitches, like it like moves, like almost like if like a breeze kind of moved it to the side a little bit. And I'm like, holy shit. Like then at that point in my head, I'm like, why are you giving me these signs if it was a miscarriage? Like what's the point of this, you know?
Yeah.
So then that's when the doctor comes in.
Yeah, and if I do remember correctly, though, the nurse didn't like say, she didn't just say like this looks like a miscarriage. She also said, which I didn't know this, she's like, but usually in first trimesters, it is common for pregnancies to pass blood clots.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, that sounds insane, because how can you bleed so much and then make a blood clot and then pass it? Like, that makes no sense. That just sounds like a miscarriage. She's like, yeah, it's common. Like, there's so many things that can happen in the first trimester. I know it's scary, but, you know, let's just wait and see what the doctor says. So the doctor comes in, and he reminds me so much of, like, have you seen those TikToks where it's like this generation of doctors?
Yes,
where
guys.
they walk in and they're like,
I was literally almost not. Obviously, he didn't know I was mad at him, but I deep down in my head, I'm like, oh my God, this is a Hollywood doctor.
Yeah.
You're young, good looking, young doctor, not that young, but like 30s, you know? And it's like if he passed med school with Google. Like,
yeah.
We would ask him questions, right? Or you continue.
Well, so they did the ultrasound, right? They did a vaginal ultrasound. And I remember with Franco's ER visit, they didn't see anything. They just went based off my hormone levels. With this pregnancy, they saw it. What did they see? Was it a yolk sac? It was a yolk sac. And they did say, they're like, look, there's a yolk sac, but if the pregnancy is passing, then it's just going to take a little bit for everything to come out. But if it's not, then it's just very, very early on. And I'm kidding. I was not 8 weeks. I was 8 weeks before we went to the first ultrasound. I was like 5 weeks. So it was super early. And so the doctor comes in. He's like, yeah, well, as you could see, we saw the yolk sac. I can't tell you that you're pregnant, but I also can't tell you that you're not pregnant. And I was like,
so we looked at each other. We're like,
so then I'm like, no, but look. So I show him the picture. He's like, yeah, honestly, it could just be a blood clot. And I'm like, but how does that happen? He's like, yeah, first trimester, you just pass a blood clot.
But every time we would ask him, he would be like, it's a 50-50.
Yeah. So I was like, so you can't tell me. He's like, no, 50% chance you are pregnant, 50% chance you're not. I'm like, I'm like, so what? He's like, yeah, well, we're just going to have to do your blood work in 2 days, see if your hormone levels are going up. If they're multiplying, then you're still pregnant. And so I'm like looking there, because I remember Jonathan, he was just straight up with him. He's like, look, doctor, we are coming to you because we think that she just experienced a miscarriage, and we're ready for you to tell us that she lost the baby. And he's like, I can't tell you that she did. It's 50-50. It's super. It could be a super. 2 days. Yeah, he's like a super early on pregnancy, or you're just waiting to pass the yolk sac. And there was just no time where he said, look, I'm going to tell you that you are still pregnant, but we will check back in 2 days. Or look, I'm going to tell you that maybe you did. No, like he was just like, it's just a 50-50. And we could not get him to go from that at all.
Like obviously trying to take care of himself legally, you know?
So it was the exact same thing that happened with Franco the first time. It was your pregnancy levels right now are at 11,000. If they are not multiplied or quadruplied in 2 weeks, then it means that you're not pregnant anymore. And if they're going down, it means that you for sure had a miscarriage. So Jonathan and I just were so confused sitting there in the hospital room, because we're like, dude, we had already made our mind up that we didn't have a baby anymore. And so now you're telling us that we have a baby. And he's like, yeah, he's like, honestly, just wait for the blood work and then wait for the ultrasound, which my ultrasound was like 3 weeks from then. Do you remember? 2. So I was like, oh my God, this doctor just like this. I was like, this did nothing. Like I could have just waited for.
No, he gave us like I was like, this is fucked up. He gave us hope.
False hope. Yeah.
No, not false, because he just gave us hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't false.
Yeah. So we kind of leave that day, and it was just like, it was weird. Like we didn't want to be happy. And
no.
we were
That's
just
when
sad.
my realistic side kicked in, because you would say stuff about the baby, and I was like, no, babe, like
I think
stop.
that those 2 weeks were like the quietest weeks. Like I just remember Jonathan being quiet, and he's like, no, like I really wanted this, you know. And I was like, okay, babe. I was like, well, they gave us hope. He's like, yeah, but what if we go in 2 weeks and
I was
there's
really
nothing?
because remember, ever since the beginning, I knew it was a girl, or I had a feeling. So I'd be like, oh, like my little girl. And you'd be like, babe, shut up. You don't even know if it's a girl yet. You know, I'd be like, yeah, babe. But like, even if we do get pregnant, like you did have a miscarriage and we get a pregnant in the month, like, I'm sorry if we're triggering people. Like, hopefully you like got off if like this is triggering for you, you know, talking about this. But if those that are okay talking about it now and can hear it, like, you know, that it's like, I know we didn't go through it, but we kind of thought we did. And we're like, that little person will never be replaced. Yeah. Like they were forming, and that was going to be a doctor, that she was going to grow up to be her own individual little person. And yeah, we could get pregnant in a month again, but that little specific little girl is not with us anymore. Yeah. Like, you know, it's never going to be. And that's the part that kept like making me so sad. I was like, fuck, like if you did lose it, if we did lose the baby, I was like, that specific little human being isn't with us no more.
Yeah, and I remember at this point in time, because, I mean, we've always had strong faith with God, and we've always believed in God and prayed to God and thanked him for everything. But at this moment, like I was just telling Jonathan, I was like, this is when it like really hits you that bad things do happen to good people, you know? And like this year, I mean, I talked about it at the beginning of the year, how this year was a very rough year for us. And I'm like, why? Like we've already been through so much shit already. Like why do we have to go through this again? So I wouldn't say that I was mad at God. I'd say that we kind of took it as a learning experience and kind of being like, oh shit, you know, like,
just because you had one healthy boy doesn't mean every pregnancy from now on is going to be.
Or just because you have one good pregnancy doesn't mean that the next one will be good, or that the next one won't be complicated. And so this whole pregnancy, I feel like it's been so hard symptomatic wise, but also just on my mind wise, because for those 2 weeks we were sad. We didn't want to get our hopes up. The 2 days after that, I checked my blood results and it did multiply. It was still going up. It wasn't like crazy numbers. I think the first one was 11,000 and the next one was like 13,000 something. So I was like, it doesn't look like it should be way more than 13. You know?
So, okay. So let's go back to the story. You got the results back. The hormone level results. They went up, but not as much as you think we thought it should have been. Yeah. So now we go from getting the results in 2 days to waiting 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, that's what we're explaining, the whole quiet, being sad, not thinking. Like Blanca sometimes would say something about, I'm pregnant, or what are we gonna, and I'll be like, no, babe, like don't say stuff. You don't know that you are. You don't know, and blah, blah, blah. So the 2 weeks are up, the ultrasound comes. Yeah. And she puts the machine, a heartbeat machine. Okay. So
it was still a vaginal. So I was like, at this point, usually it's just a stomach ultrasound. But since they knew what we were coming from, they were like, we're just going to do a vaginal because they're a little bit more accurate and we can see more. And they do the vaginal ultrasound and literally like, they're like, oh, like do you see that little light? That's a heartbeat. And like, we just like, it literally just looks so relieved, you know, like it was like a big freaking boulder was lifted from the room and I could see color again. But literally laying in that bed, I was like, what the hell? Like, I was like, is this? Because if you guys, like any single person that I showed the picture to, which is kind of gross now that I think about it, everyone was like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. Like, that does look like a miscarriage and this and that. And I know what blood clots look like. And that didn't look like, it looked like it had membranes. Like, it had white little, like, it had the lines. White little, like,
like the little thing.
line. Like, yeah.
Like, you could see it. You didn't have to put your eyeball on it to like you want to see something. No, from like if you held it, like if you were holding your phone, you could see this little white string of like.
Yeah. So I was just in awe, you know, and I was like, what? You know, like, who is this tiny person? Like, damn, babe, your sperm is really strong, you know? So.
But before I forgot. Before we went in to hear the heartbeat, my grandma calls me, right?
Yeah.
Was it before or after?
No, it was before.
So my grandma, God bless her, she's always had, I think that's where I get maybe my intuition from, my craziness to know things. And little fun story. The day Blanca was having your water broke or no?
No, I was having the day we were leaving to the hospital.
To the hospital because your contractions were, your app was telling you, hey, it's time to give birth.
Yeah.
As I have one bag in one arm, and I think the
placenta thing,
the little cooler in the other, and I'm walking out the door, I get a phone call. So I put the stuff down, and it's my grandma, and I'm like, I already knew what she was gonna say, and I was like, no freaking way. And she's like, hijo, ¿cómo estás? Nomás te quería llamar porque I feel like something's going on. Siento que ya viene el bebé. And I was like, oh my God. And le dije, like, we're literally on our way to the hospital. She's like, hijo, ya lo sabía. And another story, my grandma knew my mom was having twins before we even told her.
Before your mom even knew that.
Because once we knew, I remember we were in the little Marshall's parking lot in front of Chick-fil-A, and where we parked, we're like, okay, let's call your grandma. And we call my grandma, and she's like, ya sabía, hija. Like
it wasn't even like a surprise. Oh
no,
my God.
You know when you tell someone you're having twins, it's like, oh my God, you know, they start freaking out. No, my grandma's like, hija, ya sabía, you know? Yeah. I was like, oh my God, grandma, you needed to be investigated. Anyways, she calls me right before we're going to go in to see our baby girl. Hopefully she's there. And she's like, hijo, like, yo sé, because obviously my mom called her and told her everything. She's like, yo sé que es una guerrera. Like, she kept saying the word guerrera. She. And this is before we even knew the gender of it. Yeah. She's like, yo sé que ella es una guerrera. Like, she's strong. Like, no se quiso salir. Like, ahí anda, ahí está la. Like, she has these words like mustia. Like, what else? Like, yeah, like mustia. Mustia means, it's such a weird word when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
But like, you know, crazy, like Silvertooth kid, but like she does not want to leave the stomach. Like, she's in there, she's stubborn, and she's a fighter, and she's like, I know she's in there. And she kept saying she, and take in mind, we don't know the gender yet. And then sure enough, my grandma got another story once again.
Jonathan calls her, and she's like, I told you. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, thank God, no. Like, she's like, I know, I told you. Like, she's there. And it was just so funny because I just kept telling Jonathan, I was like, why does she keep saying she? Like, why she? And Jonathan's like, Jonathan had that intuition that it was a girl as soon as I told him I was pregnant, and then she thought it was a girl. And for me, like, I tell you guys, when a lot of people have a strong opinion on something, I usually go for what it's not. So I'm like, oh, it's for sure a boy if everyone thinks it's a girl. So that day when we found out that there was a heartbeat, and when we got like a cute little ultrasound pictures, which like it was already formed, I come home and like everyone's super excited. And I think aside from being so thankful and like grateful to God, like I was like, it's just insane when things like that happen to you, because I remember sitting in Juani's bathroom and I remember Lulu praying out loud and saying like, God, you know, like, we know what's in there. We know that they're strong, whatever. And I remember being like, why are we praying, like asking for the baby that's in there? Like, the baby's right here, you know, like I just knew. So I'm like, this is just crazy. First, how a woman's body has a baby is insane to me. But I was like, the fact that all of these things can happen in your first trimester and it's all normal, like no one even teaches you that, you know? Everyone just says, oh, cramps and blood, miscarriage. You know, it's not like, oh, well, you could pass a blood clot. Well, you could experience cramping and it should be normal. So that's when I sit here and say, like, pregnancy is just hard, period. And I think that this pregnancy has been mentally hard because TikTok is such a, like, eavesdropper, you know? As soon as I was talking about having a miscarriage, all these freaking TikToks came up about miscarriages and about things that you should have done, that you could have done, that you might have done. And then after that, like, I just kept getting TikToks of like women going into birth or into labor at 20, at 21 weeks, at 22 weeks. And I'm like, where's all this coming from? Like, I remember Franco's pregnancy being so peaceful after we had the miscarriage scare too. So I'm just like, damn, like this is why a lot of people don't even talk about their pregnancies, because it's just scary, you know. And for this pregnancy, it was just so different, because with Franco's, we didn't do genetic testing, we didn't do any testing at all, actually. And with this pregnancy, no, like, oh, do you guys want genetic testing? Yes. Do you want this testing? Yes. Do you want, like, I'm like, for everything we said yes, and for everything we were just like praying and like waiting for the results to come back negative, I guess. Yeah, negative. And thank God, you know, like every single time that we go into the ultrasound, like I remember for Franco, I was always excited, I was always so giddy and happy. And like for her, it's the same, like I'm giddy and happy, but I'm always like expecting something, you know, like I'm waiting for the worst possible outcome. And yeah, when we went in for our anatomy scan, which was last week or 2 weeks ago, last week, no? Jonathan and I go into our anatomy scan, and for Franco's anatomy scan, and because I've been pregnant, like we have a lot to compare it to. But I remember the ultrasound tech being a lot more talkative, you know, and she was like, oh, well, here's this, here's that. And then for like 20 minutes, she didn't say anything because we didn't know the gender yet. So she didn't want to spoil it for us. But for this one, she asked, she's like, oh, she was already like, I don't know. I've had a lot of really nice encounters with the nurses there, with everyone at my OBGYN, and I think she was the first one that was just a nurse. Like she wasn't there to like go above and beyond and like make you feel comfortable, you know. Like she was a very good ultrasound tech, but she was just there for her job. Yeah. And I remember when I told Jonathan, he was like, babe, she was a good ultrasound tech. And I was like, I know, but she wasn't like nice and like you know, friendly,
doing her job.
I know, she was just there doing her job. So I see, like I get their vibes as soon as they say hi to me, like welcome us in. So I could already tell she was, you know, not the most comforting vibe. And it was so funny because while we were in there, she was doing the ultrasound, there was like a kid screaming, and then she was like, oh, those parents must have their hands full, you know. And she's like, yeah, we haven't had kids in our house in years. So I'm like, okay, I understand now. But so she's like doing it, and before anything, she's like, you guys know the gender, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a girl. She's like, okay. She's like, because some people don't. And as soon as I set the thing down, I forget what it's called, the tool, she's like, sometimes it just goes straight to their bum. And I was like, oh no, we know. And literally, just as she said, as soon as she puts it down, you could see her privates. And Jonathan's like, what are you guys looking at? I'm like, babe, look, like that's her leg and that's her private part. John's like, I don't see it. So I'm like, thankfully, like if we didn't know, like you wouldn't have known, but I would have. As soon as she set it down, I was like, oh, there she is. And I was also nervous because I was like, what if it's a boy? Like, what if we go into the anatomy scan and the blood was wrong and it's a boy? Yeah. So yeah, we confirmed it's a girl. And then, yeah, she was kind of talking here and there, you know, kind of fighting with her because no se dejaba ver la cara and she couldn't get a good picture of her. But she was so quiet. And Jonathan and I were just like, what the hell? Like, she's not saying anything. And usually when people are quiet, like, you just think, like, oh, shit. Like, they found something. That'd be funny
because you obviously think you know. Like, well, me, you know at least way more than I do. But she wouldn't be talking. So I would be like, okay, I think she's looking at her from the side. And that looks like her leg. And then she'd be like, all right, so this is the head and the ears. And I was like, what the heck? I thought that was a leg.
I remember when she said, like, oh, here's her nose and her lips. I was like, I do not see it at all, girl. I don't know how you're seeing that. So yeah, she was pretty quiet, and Jonathan was like kind of scared. You said, huh, baby? You're like, she wasn't talking, like it was giving vibes like something was wrong. Yeah. And I don't know why last year a lot of spina bifida videos had come up of a lot of parents that had experienced that with their babies. And so I know, since I've watched all of them, I know what a spine should look like and what it could look like if it was spina bifida. So as soon as she put the tool on her spine, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, thank you, God, so much. You know, like just thanking God, because you already know what the ultrasound is supposed to look like and what their body's supposed to look like. So yeah, that was just very, very calming. But yeah, after that, she was like, you know what? She's very active, which means she's very healthy. She didn't let us take a picture of her face. She literally kept turning, like literally, like you could tell that she was turning every single time they would put the tool up to her face. She would just turn around and she would like go into my, what did she say? My pelvis, right? She's like, oh, look, she's right up on your pelvis. So yeah, thankfully everything went good. Even since she was very quiet, like I still had it in my brain. Like I was like, okay, if the doctor comes in and she's like sits down and like is serious and it's gonna be a long visit, like I know something's wrong, you know. And no, the doctor, she was probably one of the coolest, like I would say kind of hippie doctors, no? Because my doctor, the one that delivered Franco, I chose him to be my OBGYN this time too. And he's like old school. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's very like, I don't know. He's really cool, but not like hip, I would say, you know. Y esta, she came in with like the coolest outfit, the coolest boots. She looked Western, fall vibes, and you know, like with short hair. Like she was super cute. And yeah, she was like, everything looks good. Like I didn't see anything in the ultrasound pictures. She's like, usually I would go through them with you and tell you, but I saw everything. Everything looks perfect. Do you have any questions? And then all the questions we did have, she was very like reassuring about them. So thankfully everything now is looking good. And it's just scary because I have like weird aches and pains, and I tell Jonathan, and then I go in and she's like, oh no, that's totally normal. And it's just crazy because I've never experienced that, you know, with Franco. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, I could truly sit here and say that girl pregnancies are 100% harder than boy. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Don't you think I've complained more this pregnancy than the one with Franco? I've been more irritable, more emotional. Everything's been more painful, but thankfully we went through a scary experience that wasn't a miscarriage, because like just knowing that people go through this and like you have to mourn and like heal from it is so sad, especially because you don't know what the gender is, you know. So yeah, thankfully we went through that and it passed, and we've been good since, guys. But it was actually a kind of traumatic experience. And now, like a lot of people say, I would have more kids if it didn't involve being pregnant, because pregnancy is just scary, period. Like I would love to enjoy it, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling this weird pain, like maybe it's not right or something like that, you know.
Yeah. And another thing, babe, that we forgot to tell them is that, as many of you guys know, I have twin brothers, and Blanca has twin primos hermanos. So, you know, twin gene runs strong in our families. So for a long time we thought, and we did, which one did we ask? Oh, it was after the first, when we heard her heartbeat for the first time, we're like, okay, we're pregnant.
Oh yeah.
And when we talked to the lady afterwards, the one that asked you, you know, she asked you like 150 questions, like, do you have autism in the family? Blah, blah, blah. And you say no. Luckily you say no to everything, right? But she didn't know. And I asked her, I was like, hey, like, could have there been a chance, like, I was like, please, excuse me if I'm being extremely stupid. Like, I do not know anything about medicine. I just, like, this is just a possibility. I was like, if the picture looks so much like a miscarriage, could there have been a chance that she was pregnant with twins, you know? And maybe she just, like, one got flushed away and then the other one, like, hanged in there and is in there, you know? Because you showed her the picture too, and she was even like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I do see how you guys were so scared. And she's like, there's just no way we could have known.
Mm-mm. She's like, unless they would have seen a second sack, then that would have been a possibility.
But that's like if they would have been
fraternal twins. But she's like, if there was, like, there's just no way.
There's no way of ever knowing, like, if you did or didn't. So I was like, oh, that's a mystery that will be with us forever, you know?
Yeah, like, what if I was pregnant with twins and one of them just, peace out.
Peace out.
I don't want to be in this world.
This world's fucked up. You can do it on your own, but nah. Yeah, guys. So that's our little story, and that's why we hinted it here and there, because even Blanca, when we went to the first time she got back from Texas, and we were outside UC Health, the clinic, and you set up the camera, and I was like, babe, like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm gonna vlog it. Like, I vlog everything in my life. Why wouldn't I vlog, you know, the sad things? Maybe a lot of women have gone through this or are going through it, and I can help them. And I was like, you know what? Like, you're right. So you continue to vlog. But like, that's like other podcast. At the end of the podcast, I was like, you just don't know what people are going through, guys. We were literally going through that. And yeah, like, that's why we say, like, just be nicer to people. Some people can have everything in the world, but like, they're going through shit, you know? Yeah. So just be mindful of what people go through, guys, and just be nice. Like, so I know when I say you guys, I don't mean you guys. I just mean like the average hater that might stumble across this video. But just overall, let's just be nice to everyone, because you don't know what people are going through, you know? Yeah.
I think that it was, I don't know, it was a heavy story, because every single time we would sit down and like film a podcast, we're like, should we talk about it today? And we'll always be like, I don't want to be sad today. Like, it's already a gloomy day. I'd rather not.
We were going to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of the Disney podcast. But then I was like, I literally said, I was like, I don't feel like being sad today, babe. But today it's just a sunny day, and I don't think this should, you know, stump us too bad. So
yeah, I think it's just taught us to be more grateful about everything, like every single doctor appointment, every single movement. I feel everything. I'm just like, oh, thank you, God. Because I feel like your first pregnancy is like the honeymoon phase in your relationship, you know, like it's so beautiful and it's all butterflies and roses and everything's perfect and great, and you just don't know, like you don't know the side effects, you don't know what could possibly go wrong, you don't know anything until you get pregnant again, and then you see how many things can go wrong with pregnancies, you know, and at how many weeks, because everyone says like, oh, after your 12 weeks you're in the safe zone, but you're not, because you can have late miscarriages, you can go into labor early, you can, like, there's so much you can help. I mean, there's so much that can happen in the pregnancy. So yeah, every single day I'm just like, thank you, God, like, please, you know, take care of this baby that you're growing inside of me. And yeah, I think that's why this pregnancy has been a lot more mentally tough on me, because it's just the what if, you know, the what you don't know. But
yeah, so now everyone's, when we tell them, like, we're having a hard time right now with the name. As you guys know this, we're going to spill the tea a little bit. With Franco, we knew it was going to be Franco from even before we had a boy, or we knew it was a boy, you know? I've always liked the name Franco. Luckily, Blanca liked the name Franco when I told her it. And so now with the girl, now that my grandma knows she's a warrior, our friends know the story that she's a warrior. Everyone wants like a super strong name for her, like, because that's well deserved. You know, she hanged in there for so long. She's crazy in the ultrasound. She's crazy in her stomach. I can feel her kicking at such a young stage still. So everyone's like, no, this little girl deserves a strong name. So my grandma the other day, I called her. And she's like, what do you think about this name? Este nombre significa esto y esto. Y tiene que ser fuerte porque, you know, my grandma's name is Lucia. And she thinks that's a strong name for her. So she's like, necesita un nombre fuerte porque ella es fuerte, you know? So the number one option that Blanca likes is a softer name for a girl. And then so a lot of people have their opinions. But regardless, we'll know if she looks like this or like that, and who knows, maybe there will be a last second change in the hospital. Yeah,
I think it's nice that we'll get those 24 hours with her by ourselves, like with nobody's opinions. I thought a lot about it now, because when we went to our doctor's appointment the first time, we got this sheet in our folder that was like, oh, visiting hours. And then I was like, what? And she's like, oh yeah, like they're open now, because when we had Franco it was still COVID, so we had no visitors at all. And I like that, you know, like there was no pressure. It was just, sorry, COVID rules. And now, like, they're like, no, you can, there's visitors allowed now. You can come visit, your family can come. And now I'm like thinking about, I'm like, I think it's nice. Like, I love the videos when like the little brother comes and like sees their sister and stuff, but I'm like, I loved those first 24 hours where it was just you, me, and Franco, you know. So I was like, if we get those first 24 hours with her by ourselves, we will truly know like what name fits her the most, you know.
I feel like I would still want to do that. And then our families could come over immediately, like to the house,
which they did. Like they were all waiting for us when we got home. So yeah, I think we're definitely gonna just stick to the first 24 hours being Jonathan and I, and just like looking at her and just being like, because with Franco, literally we didn't get one like, oh, why Franco, or why, no, like everyone loved his name.
No one guessed it, guys. No one, I'm not gonna say this para creerme mucho, but you guys didn't get, no, this isn't about that. This is about genuinely, you know what, the closest anyone ever got was a girl. She commented Christopher, and her name was something Franco. Oh yeah, and I'm like, girl, si supieras that it's because Franco is a very popular last name. So I was like, si supieras that your last name is his name, you know. But she commented Christopher, and I'll never forget that Christopher, and her last name was Franco. So that was funny. And maybe that's why a lot of people didn't guess it, because to a lot of people it's like James Franco. What's other actor? Dave Franco. They're brothers. I know a lot of people from my little rancho, last name Franco, but it is a very common first name too. So no one, and we kept telling you guys, it's short, it's not new, no es Wisin Yandel ni nada de eso. It's a strong Mexican name, and no one ever got it. Yeah, and in the belly it was always Franco. When he was born, there was no like, oh, it's because he doesn't know, like Franco, like he grew into that name. And like Baby J was Baby J just because J&J Vlogs. No, just because we couldn't announce his name yet. Oh. But you know, like it was never like his identity. Oh yeah, people were like,
wait, we thought it was a name with a J.
No.
Like,
So
no.
then as soon as we revealed his name, he never went back to Baby J. It was just Franco from then on.
Yeah. And that's just what he's known as, Little Franco. And it's just crazy because with this girl, like, we have like a list of 5 names, and we're like, yeah, cuando nazca we'll know.
Yeah, and all those 5 names are beautiful, and they all are unique, and we're like, she's just like, we're not set in stone.
No. And we're like, maybe from here until her due date, until the day she's born, maybe we'll come across another name that would like speaks to us. Because Franco was just like it was just like a glowing light in front of our eyes. Like, it was Franco. And with
also,
her, nothing.
It was too good to be true. Like, Blanca and I, you guys know we love each other very much, but we are the opposite person, the most opposite people in this world. So when Franco was in a debate, that was weird. It was more... A lot of husband and wife, it's weird when they don't agree on something. For us, it's normal. And it's weird when we do agree on something, whether it be food, the day, whatever, shoes, whatever.
Yeah.
So now I was like, okay, this is normal.
Yeah.
Blanca likes one name. I like the other one. Me and her mom were a day apart. So all the names I like, her mom likes. And she's like, hazle caso a Jonathan, blah, blah, blah. But then she has friends, and your sisters are girls, so they agree with your names, and then so it's like,
yeah. And I was telling Jonathan, I was like, at the end of the day, like, I do not care what anybody says. Like, I don't care what my mom says. I don't care what your friends say. Like, I don't care what nobody says. At the end of the day, I'm gonna name her what I want to name her, and I think it just stems from me being a people pleaser and me always going with what everyone else thinks. Like, if I like this name. And I feel like if I had become a mom way younger, when I wasn't as self-aware as I am now, I would have gone with the name that everybody liked, right? Even though I don't like it. And I would have gone my whole life being like, fuck, like, I literally just named her this because of, because of other people's opinions. But for this, I'm like, I do not care what anybody says. Like, we're going to have those 24 hours and we're going to know, like, what her name is, because it's just crazy, guys. Like, we already know that she's crazy in the belly, but it's like knowing what Franco looks like, knowing what he looked like when he was born. Like, I just cannot picture her. Like, I don't know what she's going to look like at all. It's insane. So yeah, I think we're just going to wait. And for Franco, it was always a debate. Like, should we just announce it before he's born? Like, we already know the name and everything, but no. Like, for this one, like, we can't even tell you because we don't even know the name.
Yeah, we don't even know.
Yeah.
I was actually open to it, like, doing the video before the baby's born. Like, but we're like, now that we do want to kind of do it, we don't know. Whereas Franco, we could have done it, you know?
Or even like for Franco, we did a video saying boy names we like but won't be using. And with this one, we can't because we have a list of so many names that we don't even know which one we're going to end up using. As you guys even saw last
podcast where Blanca was like, Charlie. And I was like, babe, like, that's still not out of like the whole, like, it's not,
Yeah. Like, it could still be an option. That could still be our third kid's name, Charlie.
Yeah. And even you guys still have an influence because you guys have been taking guesses. And then one of your guys' guess was Georgina.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, babe, that's actually kind of cute. And you're like, nah, hell no. But then I was like, oh my God, like, that's crazy. We can't even do the names we like but aren't using because
we don't even know.
You guys just gave me a name, Georgina. And I was like, I like it. We would spell it with a J instead of a G. And it would be cute, but then Blanca didn't like it, so.
No. And I still don't know what my baby shower theme is. I still don't have a date, and it's already November, guys. And it's crazy because this weekend, actually, as you guys are seeing this video, in 2 days, is our compadre's baby shower, which I'm so excited about. And I, like, remember her telling me, like, oh, this is the date. Like, this is when the baby shower is. And me being like, damn, like, that's so far, you know? And now I'm like, holy shit, it's this weekend and I have to get my shit together because 1, nobody has an outfit. 2, I told her I want to help and be in charge of the games. 3, there's like Jonathan and I are CEOs of procrastinating to the point that it's probably going to be Saturday night and we're going to be at the outlets looking for an outfit for you. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to get my shit together and start planning. But time has
crept up on everyone, babe, because even Luis, we were at Disneyland a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and then he was like, what are you doing in 2 weekends? Like two Sundays from now. And then I was like,
no, it was you, me, and Noemi. Look at him. We're like,
I'm going to be at your baby shower.
He's like, oh shit.
Like, he was planning like something probably like football related or something.
And it's all I'm like, we're literally going to be partying at your baby shower, Luis. So yeah, I was telling Jonathan, I was like, babe, like I understand that we like to work under pressure, but we need to get these invitations out. We don't even have a freaking venue yet. So hopefully we get all of that together. I really appreciate all of you guys sending in your options for decorations. I still haven't found one that I like. So if you still have any ideas, please let me know, because I just know I wanted to be soft pink. And then I don't know what theme.
Yeah, a lot of you guys liked my candy one, my candy option. Yeah. I saw the cow one, the moo. What is it? Holy cow! Oh, holy cow! Pregnant? You're pregnant. But
I really like. I was gonna piggyback up off of your candy idea and just make it cotton candy, so like soft pink vibes. Yeah, see, I didn't think you were gonna like it. So
no,
yeah.
You know why I don't want to do cotton candy? Because Noemi's is clouds.
Yeah, so it'd be the
same. So
yours
would just be pink clouds.
Yeah,
that's copying vibes.
Yeah, so that's why, like, I have no idea. For, like I said, like for Franco's pregnancy, it was just so different, and it was just so obvious. And I feel like that's what I mean about having a girl and a boy. And literally every single time Jonathan and I talk about how hard we think it's gonna be being a girl mom, we always get shitted on. Like, everyone's like, why do you talk so much? Like, it's not even that hard. Boys are hard or whatever. But it's like, that's what I mean. Like, girls, there's just so many options for girls, like clothes, colors, attitude. Are they gonna be sassy? Are they gonna be in gymnastics? Are they gonna be in swim? Like, you know, there's so much that comes with a girl.
But let's diagnose this. Why are we so scared, babe, if all the girls we know are more calm than the boys?
But they're like, they're calm, but they're just crazy. Like, I don't even know.
Like, Adi's calm. All of Kaylee's sobrina, she says that she's super calm and all her boys are crazy. Mm-hmm. Just influencers in general.
Most of the, except for Adi, because she's the second child, but like Kaylee's sobrina, she's the first child, and she's very calm. And I'm just like, it's a girl and it's her second baby, and the stomach is already going crazy. Like, send help for real. But yeah, I think that's next on our agenda, guys. Just planning out the baby shower and hoping that everybody can make it. I'm excited. I really love baby showers, honestly, and I love shopping for baby showers, and I love doing everything. So it was so funny because for Franco's baby shower, I remember everybody flew in Friday. Y ese viernes me los llevé a todos a que me ayudaran a hacer los decorations. And I'm like, I don't want to do that this time. You know, like, I want everyone to fly in, for it to be a vacation, for them to just come and party. Like, I'm not going to take all my friends and like have everything last minute, which I can't because I have a toddler. Like, I need to get everything planned out and ready for that day. I don't want anybody stressing. Like, I don't even want our families to cook for it. Like, I don't want anything, you know, like, I just want to cater Chick-fil-A. Yeah, se acabó, you know.
Also, guys, another thing here, we'll do this, the giveaway. Comment down because look, trust us when we say, when you're like, are you going to invite subscribers to this? Are you going to invite subscribers to that? That's always in the back of our head, right? That's always an option for us, and we would love to and whatnot, right? Because we have become friends with some of our subscribers, followers, and then we become great friends, and then we see each other and we talk on the gram and stuff like that. But let me, because I truly think life is all about perspective, right? And I feel like a lot of you guys are quick to judge. Why wouldn't you invite the people that support you? Why wouldn't you do this? Like, it's common sense. Why wouldn't you? But then that's why we like to paint a picture, because then when we like tell you what we're feeling, then you're like, oh, that makes sense. Guys, we've encountered so many people. Like, let's just take DMs, for example. The first 5 DMs, oh my God, we love you. Oh my God, you guys are so cute. Blah, 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 blah. Like, super sweet. And all of a sudden, the next DM is like, you're so fat and ugly. And we're like, what the hell just happened? What happened in that week that caused you to have such a massive shift? Mm-hmm. Like, guys, I've had DMs. I've screenshotted DMs where the people are like, oh my God, Franco's so cute. Oh my God, Blanca's so beautiful. Saludos. And then the next DM's like, yeah, well, you're so fat. I don't even know why Blanca's with you. And I'm like, oh my God.
It was so funny because when Jonathan thought that he was chubby and he was like bigger, he's like, I'm going to screenshot all these freaking comments. And if anybody ever says something when I lose weight, I'm going to expose them. Like, period.
So now take all that I said into consideration, guys. And what if I were to invite one of those people to our party? Like, yeah, hee ha ha, I'm having fun. We're at your party. But deep down, they have hatred towards us,
Yeah.
towards me, to my son, to my wife, to our family, and they could do something, or they could record the wrong thing or something
Or
like
they could
that.
simply just go with the mindset of like screwing us over.
Yeah.
You know, with the mindset of like recording something and or making something up, or like the fear is always like, so we invite a subscriber that deep down doesn't actually like us, and the next week there's a video saying like, oh, exposing how Blanca and Jonathan really are, which it doesn't scare me because I know how we really are, but it's like someone can just misinterpret or record something wrong, you know, like I don't know. And yeah, I think it's very scary. And we've been to events where there's subscribers invited, and we've experienced some harsh things, you know. So
yeah, like some of our friends invited subscribers one time. We're not gonna say who
and
or
don't
what happened,
even say what happened either.
but shit hit the fan, guys, and we're like, yeah, like it's just, you never know, because that's the thing we just said is one thing. The second thing is that you become responsible for that person.
Yeah.
Say that subscriber, a lot of the times it's happened to our friends, they come and they get wasted. So now you're taking care of this person that's blacked out because they wanted to have fun with all their YouTuber friends, and you have to get him an Uber or take him to the hospital because they got too drunk. So it's like that, guys. So please.
That's what we didn't invite anybody to Franco's baby shower.
Yeah, like put yourself in our shoes and don't just, say mean things and like, oh, you se creen mucho, that's why you don't invite. No. Trust us, guys.
It's a safety aspect. And we have a toddler, and well, there's going to be kids
and
at
we
the
have
baby
trust
shower.
issues. After I got those messages
issues.
and I see some, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It happens here in our comments too. Trust me, guys. Like when I click on one comment, I can see if you've commented before and what you've commented. So I've seen hate comments, and then the last 10 comments were so sweet and nice. And that gives us trust issues, believe it or not.
Yeah.
What if I'm inviting someone that is, I love you guys, but then they have a secret TikTok account bashing us?
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy. So if you guys have like a way to like how you would fight that, how you would get around that, we would be more than happy to know.
Yeah.
Like if you put yourself in your shoes and you had your family and your kid at a party and you want the best for them, and you were a YouTuber and you had thousands of followers, what would you do in order to invite someone, a stranger essentially? Because I know you guys know a lot about us, but we don't know a lot about you. Yeah. So what would you do? How would you do it? Would you just not do it and get your hands wrapped up with that? Or do you invite people that have kids? Because if they have kids, they become less of a danger. Or do you invite people that clearly they've commented 3 years in a row and they have no ill, what do you do? Let us know, guys.
That's scary. I don't know. But we've become friends with a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
Like we're genuinely friends. Like
Genuinely
we're like,
friends.
we talk to them. We've gone to brunch with them, But yeah, guys, that is next up for our agenda. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It was a little bit sad. It was a little bit scary, but I just wanted to like tell you guys what can happen. Because if I would have just never said anything about this, like you guys wouldn't know how scary it is at the beginning. And a lot of people get shit for not announcing their pregnancy sooner, but it's like you just never know, So that's it for today's podcast.
Yeah, guys, we love you. Happy Friday on your way to school, work. It's getting colder, pero no se rajen, and start saving up that money, okay? Start saving up because Christmas is coming. You have to buy a lot of presents, and yeah, New Year. So we love you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yay Networks.